36 sites on the UNESCO World Heritage List. A pyramid larger than anything in Egypt, buried under a hill for 3 centuries. Civilizations that mapped the stars without metal tools, built cities of 200,000 people, and then vanished without leaving a name behind. This is Mexico. From the ancient plazas of its capital to the agave fields of Jalisco, from the circular pyramids of the west to the limestone canyons of the north, this country holds more layers of history per square mile than almost anywhere on Earth. The oldest parts are not in museums. They are still in use, still walked on, still built around, still argued over. What follows is multiple locations across 3 regions, each one a different answer to the same question. How does a country carry this much past into its present? "620,000 square feet of open stone, no monument at the center, no statue, no fountain. Just the flag. The ZÓCALO has been the gathering place of this city since before it had a name. Aztec priests walked the ground beneath this square. The sacred precinct of Tenochtitlan sat 1 block to the northeast. When Spanish forces took the city in 1521, they did not clear the ground and start over. They built directly on top. The Metropolitan Cathedral lining the north edge uses stones, pulled from demolished Aztec temples. Templo Mayor, the Great Pyramid at the heart of the old empire, lies 1 block away. Archaeologists began excavating it in 1978. They are still digging. The square measures 722 feet north to south, 787 feet east to west. On peak days, 100,000 people fill it, and the space still does not feel crowded. The National Palace runs the entire eastern wall. Inside, Diego Rivera spent 25 years painting the full history of Mexico across its courtyard walls. The square has a formal name almost no one uses: Plaza de la Constitución, named for the Spanish Constitution of 1812. People call it the ZÓCALO, meaning the base. A monument to independence was planned here in the 1800s. Only the pedestal was ever built, and the name stuck to the empty stone. The Metropolitan Cathedral on the north edge took 250 years to finish, from 1563 to 1813. It holds over 150 windows and a crypt of former archbishops, among the biggest churches in the Americas. The square still fills for religious gatherings during Holy Week and Corpus Christi, and for concerts and parades the rest of the year. In 1790, workers repaving this square dug up the Aztec sunstone. The carved disc weighs around 24 tons. It now sits in the National Museum of Anthropology. The same dig turned up a statue of the earth goddess Coatlic. Each November, the square hosts a Day of the Dead parade. The city invented the parade in 2016, after a James Bond film opened with one that had never existed. The city carries on, 7,350 feet above sea level, where the air is thin and the history is dense. On June 11, 2026, at 1 in the afternoon, Mexico faced South Africa on this field. It was the opening match of the 48-team World Cup. ESTADIO AZTECA became the first stadium in history to host World Cup matches across 3 separate tournaments, 1970, 1986, and 2026. The stadium opened in 1966 with a capacity above 100,000. For 2026, FIFA registered it at 80,824 seats after a renovation costing approximately $100 million. The lower stands were demolished and rebuilt. A red membrane roof now wraps the upper rim. Workers installed over 20,000 square feet of LED screens and a hybrid pitch with underground thermal controls to keep grass consistent at altitude. In 1970, Brazil defeated Italy 4-1 here in the World Cup final. Pelé lifted the trophy on this pitch. In 1986, Diego Maradona scored twice against England in a single match. First with his hand, then with 53 yards of solo dribbling past 5 defenders. Both goals, same field, same afternoon. The city added 17 trains to the ZÓCALO light rail line for match days. 37 trains moving 400,000 passengers south toward a stadium that has no on-site parking and has never needed it. Locals call it El Coloso de Santa Ursula, the Colossus of the neighborhood it sits in. It is the biggest stadium in Latin America. The pitch sits about 30 feet below ground level, the lower tier built against the natural slope. That design seals the crowd in and traps the noise. The altitude does the rest. At over 7,000 feet, the thin air wears down visiting players inside the first half hour. That is why the place earned its reputation as a fortress. Across its history, the stadium has hosted 19 World Cup matches, more than any other. It remains the only ground to stage 2 World Cup finals. The stadium holds more than football. In 1970, Italy beat West Germany 4-3 in a semi-final here. Fans call it the game of the century. A plaque at the entrance marks it. Michael Jackson filled it for sold-out concerts in 1993. Estadio Azteca is what people call it. The official name will change again. The record will not. The Avenue of the Dead runs 1.5 miles through the center of this city, 130 feet wide. Along both sides, smaller pyramids and platforms step down from the road. At the north end, the Pyramid of the Moon. Halfway down on the eastern flank, the Pyramid of the Sun. The Pyramid of the Sun measures 720 feet by 760 feet at its base. It rises 216 feet. Third largest pyramid in the world by volume. Built around 200 AD. It was already 1,200 years old when the Aztecs found it abandoned and gave it its name. They called the city Teotihuacan, the place where the gods were created. They did not know who built it, neither do we. In 1971, archaeologists found a tunnel beneath the pyramid, its entrance near the Avenue of the Dead. The tunnel ended in a clover-leaf-shaped chamber. The chamber had been looted in antiquity. Whatever was placed there is gone. At its peak around 450 AD, this city held up to 200,000 people. A grid layout, a drainage system, apartment compounds, murals painted in vivid reds across the walls of elite residences. The population was mixed, with migrants from across ancient Mexico and whole neighborhoods housing people from Oaxaca and the Gulf Coast. Sheets of mica, hauled from hundreds of miles away, were laid over parts of the Pyramid of the Sun. Around the 6th century, the main temples and elite houses were deliberately burned. The end was violent. No one knows who set the fires. Archaeologists reopened it and found pools of liquid mercury at the far end. They also pulled out jade figures, jaguar bones, and mirrors of polished pyrite. The metal may mark an underworld river. It may also point to the first royal tomb ever found at the site. The site covers 8.5 square miles. UNESCO inscribed it in 1987. Most of it remains unexcavated. "150 miles of canals cut through what was once the lake system of the Valley of Mexico. The chinampas, long, narrow strips of cultivated land built up from the lake floor, have been farmed here for over 1,000 years. The Aztecs grew food on them before the Spanish arrived. Farmers still grow food on them now. UNESCO inscribed Xochimilco in 1987, jointly with the Historic Center of Mexico City. The inscription recognized a farming system that has operated without interruption since pre-Hispanic times. Most of the water in the canals today comes from a treatment plant at Cerro de la Estrella. The original lake is gone, drained over centuries of colonial and modern construction. What remains is a working wetland inside one of the largest cities on Earth. The axolotl lives here, Ambystoma mexicanum, a salamander found nowhere else in the wild. Through a trait called neoteny, it never fully matures. It keeps its external gills, its juvenile body, its perma-smile. It can regenerate a severed limb. In 1998, surveys counted 15,500 axolotls per square mile in these canals. By 2014, that number had dropped to 90. Visitors move through the canals on trajineras, flat-bottomed boats painted in hard colors and poled along by hand. They have carried passengers here since the 1930s, each one named for a person or a phrase. At their peak, the chinampas fed Tenochtitlan, producing up to 7 harvests a year. About 6,000 farmers still work them today. Ahuejote willows line the banks, their roots holding the soft island edges in place. The wetland draws more than 120 species of birds, including herons and kingfishers. It is also under pressure. Groundwater pumping sinks the ground, pollution fouls the water, and invasive carp and tilapia eat young axolotls. UNESCO has warned the site could lose its World Heritage status. One chinampa here is famous for the wrong reason. It is the Island of the Dolls. A caretaker once hung hundreds of weathered dolls in the trees to ward off a drowned spirit. They still hang there, sun-bleached and missing limbs. The axolotl, meanwhile, has become a laboratory animal worldwide. Scientists study how it regrows limbs, spinal cord, and parts of its heart and brain. The axolotl now appears on the 50 peso banknote. The axolotl is still here, barely. Puebla has been building things in stone and ceramic since 1531. 2 hours southeast of Mexico City. The cathedral on the main square took 74 years to complete. Construction began in 1575, and the building was consecrated in 1649. Its twin towers rise 230 feet, the tallest cathedral towers in Mexico at the time they were finished. The historic center carries a different texture from most colonial cities. Facades here are tiled, not painted, not stuccoed, but covered in Talavera ceramics. The technique arrived with Spanish settlers in the 16th century, fusing Arabic and Spanish glazing methods with indigenous clay traditions from the region. In 2019, UNESCO inscribed the artisanal Talavera of Puebla and Tlaxcala on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The inscription covers the full making process, the same enameling, decorating, and firing techniques used since the 1600s. Electric kilns have replaced wood. The patterns have not changed. Workshops in Puebla still fire Talavera at over 2,000 degrees. Each piece takes 3 days minimum from clay to glaze. The white tin glaze with cobalt blue designs is the most recognized, but the tradition includes reds, yellows, greens, each color requiring a separate firing. Cinco de Mayo comes from this city. On the 5th of May, 1862, an outnumbered Mexican army defeated invading French troops at the Battle of Puebla. The date is barely a holiday in the rest of Mexico. Here it is the founding story. Puebla is also a food city. Mole poblano was developed in its convent kitchens in the 1600s, a dark sauce built from chiles and a little chocolate. The historic center of Puebla received UNESCO World Heritage status in 1987. Puebla also holds the oldest public library in the Americas. The Biblioteca Palafoxiana opened in 1646. A bishop donated his own books to start it. Today it holds roughly 45,000 volumes behind carved cedar shelves 3 stories high. UNESCO added it to the Memory of the World Register in 2005. The room is kept dim to protect paper that has survived almost 400 years. Walking it means moving through 4 centuries of Spanish colonial architecture layered over an indigenous city that was already centuries old. Estadio BBVA opened in 2015 on the southeastern edge of Monterrey with a capacity of 51,338 seats. The stadium sits at the base of Cerro de la Silla. Its silhouette, 2 curved peaks resembling a saddle, appears on the official seal of Nuevo León State. From the upper tiers of the stadium, the peak fills the entire eastern horizon at a distance of roughly 3 miles. No other major stadium in the world has a backdrop of this kind built directly into its sight lines by the terrain. The design places the open end of the horseshoe bowl facing east toward the mountain. The view from every seat in that section includes both the field and the peak behind it. The architects, Populous, the same firm behind several major European stadiums, oriented the structure specifically around that line of sight. Cerro de la Sila rises to 5,686 feet. The stadium sits at roughly 1,800 feet. The elevation difference between field level and summit is visible in the angle. The mountain rises steeply right above the upper rim of the stands. In 2026, the stadium joins the World Cup. ESTADIO BBVA is Monterrey's host venue, one of 3 in Mexico alongside the AZTECA and Guadalajara's Akron. For the tournament, the name on the building changes. FIFA rules strip the sponsor, so the World Cup matches play under the name Estadio Monterrey. The stadium replaced the Estadio Tecnológico, where the club had played for 63 years. Locals call it El Gigante de Acero, the Steel Giant, a nod to the industry that built the city. Rayados fans pack it on match nights, and the chant rolls up against the mountain at the open end. Rayados de Monterrey, one of the top clubs in Mexican football, plays here. The club has won multiple Liga MX titles and Copa MX championships. The building was shaped to echo the range behind it. Its jagged steel roof line traces the same peaks that fill the eastern view. During the World Cup, the ground hosts 4 matches, 3 in the group stage and 1 in the round of 32. The pitch is a hybrid of natural grass and synthetic fiber. It is built to hold up through Monterrey's heavy summer heat. On match nights, the mountain goes dark behind the floodlights, and the peak reappears only after the stadium empties and the lights go down. In the center of Monterrey, the MACROPLAZA covers 100 acres across a single, uninterrupted block of open civic space. It was completed in 1984, after the demolition of several city blocks. It runs from the government palace at the north end to the municipal palace at the south, a distance of roughly a quarter mile. Fountains, monuments, a lighthouse-shaped beacon called the Faro del Comercio. Long stretches of paved open ground that heat up considerably in a city where summer temperatures regularly exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Paseo Santa Lucia begins at the southeastern corner of the MACROPLAZA and runs 1.5 miles northeast to Parque Fundidora. It is a canal built between 2000 and 2004, lined with walkways on both sides. Boats run the full length. The water is artificially maintained at a constant level. Parque Fundidora occupies the grounds of a steel mill that operated from 1900 to 1986. The industrial infrastructure, blast furnaces, slag heaps, rolling mill buildings, was preserved and converted into exhibition spaces, concert venues, and a convention center. The park opened in 1999. The smokestacks are still standing. The MACROPLAZA is the biggest plaza in Mexico, wider than the ZÓCALO in the capital. The orange tower at its edge, the Faro del Comercio, was designed by Luis Barragán, the only Mexican to win the Pritzker Prize. After dark, it sweeps a green laser beam across the city. The Santa Lucia Canal carries a memory in its name. It marks the spring where a Spanish colonizer founded Monterrey in 1596. At Fundidora, one of the old blast furnaces now holds a steel museum, 3 stories of machinery built inside the iron that once ran it. The Santa Lucia Canal connects the formal civic center of Monterrey to its industrial heritage site through a single navigable waterway. One side of the plaza holds a major art museum. Marco opened in 1991, designed by Ricardo Legorreta in deep red walls and shadowed courtyards. A giant black bronze dove stands at its entrance. The bronze, by sculptor Juan Soriano, towers over the people beneath it. Inside, the galleries circle an open patio where water and light do most of the work. The city built a pedestrian and boat route between 2 things that had previously had no relationship to each other except proximity. "40 miles northwest of Guadalajara, the town of Tequila sits inside a landscape that UNESCO designated a World Heritage Site in 2006. The official inscription name is Agave Landscape and Ancient Industrial Facilities of Tequila. It covers the volcanic soils of the Tequila Valley and the industrial distilleries operating within it, some continuously since the 17th century. Blue agave, Agave tequilana Weber, takes between 7 and 12 years to reach maturity. The plant stores sugars in its core, the piña, which can weigh between 80 and 200 pounds at harvest. Jimadores, the workers who harvest agave, use a circular blade called a coa to strip the leaves and extract the piña by hand. The technique has not changed in 300 years. From the road approaching Tequila, the agave fields cover the hillsides in every direction. Blue-green rosettes in rows. The volcanic cone of Tequila volcano at 4,900 feet rising behind the town. In 4K resolution, the texture of a field of agave at golden hour is one of the cleaner single-image arguments for documentary filmmaking. Mexico produces over 132 million gallons of tequila annually. The denomination of origin restricts production to 5 states: Jalisco, Guanajuato, Michoacán, Nayarit, and Tamaulipas. Everything made outside that zone is legally something else. People were fermenting agave here long before the Spanish arrived. The practice reaches back roughly 2,000 years to pre-Hispanic drinks made from the cooked plant. A train called the Jose Cuervo Express now runs the route from Guadalajara into the agave country. Since 2012, it has carried passengers past the fields with tastings on board and a harvesting demonstration along the way. The town leans hard into the spirit it gave the world. National Tequila Day falls in late July, and the Fiestas de Tequila fill the streets each December with parades, music, and open barrels. A regulator polices every bottle. The Tequila Regulatory Council certifies producers and guards the name by law. To be called tequila, a spirit must be at least 51% blue agave. The best bottles read 100% agave. Aging sets the rest. Blanco is bottled clear and young. Reposado rests in oak for months. Añejo waits in barrels for years and darkens. The distilleries in Tequila Town run tours. The oldest, La Rojeña, has operated since 1612. The process inside, cooking the piña, crushing it, fermenting the juice, double distilling. It is the same sequence the Spanish-era producers used. Scaled up and temperature controlled, but otherwise unchanged. Lake Chapala is the largest natural freshwater lake in Mexico, 30 miles south of Guadalajara. It covers approximately 417 square miles, stretching 50 miles east to west and 11 miles at its widest point north to south. The lake sits at 5,140 feet above sea level. That elevation gives the shoreline a climate that rarely drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit in winter or climbs above 80 in summer. The town of AJIJIC sits on the north shore, 7 miles west of the larger town of Chapala. Its streets are cobblestone, its buildings low and painted in deep blues, yellows, and terracottas. The murals here are not commissioned public art projects. Most are painted directly onto private walls by local artists and visiting painters who have been coming to AJIJIC since the 1940s. The expat community around Chapala and AJIJIC is one of the largest concentrations of foreign residents in Latin America. Estimates range from 10,000 to 20,000 North American and European residents living in the lakeside zone year-round. They arrived in waves, first writers and painters in the mid-20th century, then retirees following the climate and the cost of living. The lake fills a shallow volcanic basin. Geothermal heat still seeps up along parts of the shore, feeding hot springs that bathhouses have tapped for generations. The foreign community here is organized. The Lake Chapala Society, based in AJIJIC, runs as the social center of the lakeside. It has thousands of members and a full calendar of classes, talks, and events. Many residents speak English, and English signs hang in the shop windows. The town reads as two places at once, a working Mexican village and a quiet retirement colony, sharing the same cobblestone streets. The lake has been shrinking. Irrigation withdrawals, drought cycles, and population growth around Guadalajara have reduced its surface area and depth over the past century. Satellite images from the 1970s and today show the difference clearly. The lake is a link in a longer river. The Lerma River pours in from the east. The Santiago River drains out to the northwest toward the Pacific. The basin supplies a large share of Guadalajara's drinking water. Each winter, American white pelicans arrive from the north. Thousands settle on the eastern shore near Petitán, then leave again in spring. The fishing communities on the South Shore have watched the waterline recede within living memory. Countless places have been visited. What runs through all of them is the same. Something very old, sitting directly underneath something in use today. The Aztec stones under the cathedral, the pyramid under the church, the steel mill under the park, the ancient canal system under the city that grew over it. This is not a country that moved its history into museums and built clean on top. It built on top of the history and left both visible. Sometimes deliberately. Sometimes because there was no other option. Sometimes because the thing underneath was too large to remove. The canyon at La Huasteca formed when this region was still underwater. The agave fields at Tequila have been farmed in some form for centuries. The axolotl in Xochimilco has not changed its body plan in millions of years. And the stadium where the World Cup opened this summer has now hosted the tournament 3 times across 56 years. The large things are very large, and the old things are very old. Both of those facts are easier to understand once you have stood in front of them. What these locations share is a single quality. It is the sense that whatever you are looking at has been looked at for a very long time by many different people. The reasons kept changing while the place stayed the same. Every country holds its past differently. Mexico holds its underneath everything still standing. And that changes how the surface looks. Thank you for traveling with us through every mile of this journey. Your time means everything to us. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless every journey you take. If this journey touched your heart, share it with your family, your friends, anyone who deserves to experience this. Subscribe and join us for the next one. We have special gifts waiting for you down the road.